There's a lot of talk in the on social media about an eclipse, um, and some people are trying to make a link between that and the doomsday type of thing. Not necessarily the end of the world, but they say something's going to happen. Unfortunately, even among Catholics, good Catholics. Uh, I'm not one of those. I mean, if you notice, I haven't said nothing about that, written about that. It's because I gotta be honest with you, I don't care. it's to me, it's just a solar eclipse. If the Lord is the one that controls everything, including nature. If the Lord is using that for something, and only He knows, if that's the case, um, then so be it. So either way, one way or the other, I don't think anything is going to happen. I think it's just a solar eclipse. But if something is going to come out of that, if that's just a signal of, there's a lot of things going on in the world. So eclipse or not eclipse, something's going to happen anyway because there's so much going on that the water is already boiling at like uh, over 500 degrees Fahrenheit. It's already at a boiling point for a long time. So the water is about to spill out of the pot, if you will. So, but when it's gonna happen, I think it's gonna be soon. But I don't know. I'm not making any. Like I said, I'm not making any. I'm not one of those. The solar eclipse and that. Can the Lord use that if something's going to happen pretty soon? Can He use the solar eclipse to signal? Well, yeah, it's only before. I mean, like the aurora borealis, that phenomenon on the North Pole to signal the beginning of the Second World War. He already did that. He can do it. He has control over nature. I mean, and as a matter of fact, that was prophesied by our Blessed Lady and Lady Fatima. But that was a real thing. But now, no, it's a lot of talk. People talking. Like I say, look, I'm not going one way or the other. If you want to believe it, as long as it does not contradict teaching of the church, I don't care. Even if it does, then don't at the very least be consistent and don't call yourself Catholics. But I mean, most of the folks that I'm hearing, I'm not even listening to that, to be honest with you. But I mean, that I see on the headlines when I'm scrolling down on social media or a lot of them, I should say, are good Christian and good Catholics. So I know that they're not saying anything that contradicts the teachings of the Holy Mother Church. However, the fact that they're focusing too much on that, they're trying to make some, I don't even know because I don't really bother to read those, but I mean, basically, it's from what I've heard, they're trying to make a link between that and one of the apparition of our Blessed Lady that are not even confirmed. So you see, there's a whole lot more I can say about that, but that will be for another day. But basically, what it is don't pay attention to that. Just the only thing that you have to worry about is go to confession, like I will. What's that? No, still today. It's still tomorrow. Still 16 p.m. So anyway, here this neck of the woods. But at any rate, so tomorrow I'm going to visit with him. See, that's the other thing. I mean, who cares? I don't need like eclipse or these or that. I don't care. It could happen, like I don't know, a miracle, like it's never happened before, as far as being spectacular. Is gonna pale in comparison to what I'm gonna see tomorrow anyway. Either I believe that for real, or I don't believe in the Holy Eucharist, which I do. So tomorrow I'm going to visit the Blessed Lord in the Holy Eucharist, Blessed Sacrament, and I'm going to adore Him. I'm going to worship Him for about a couple of hours or a little bit more. Can you get anything greater than God? Of course not. Therefore, what I'm going to see tomorrow is a whole lot more, infinite number of times more important than and spectacular as far as I'm concerned than any eclipse or whatever, you know. So I don't know why. I mean, I can see non-Christians or at the very least non-Catholics worrying about that, but they're you know, of course, they don't have the fullness of the truth. But a real Catholic, meaning a real Christian, even talking about that, trying to make a connection there somehow, unless it is a real apparition, like in the Fatima, that the kids had a message from Our Lady, and she said in one of those messages that if the humanity did not turn away from their sins and repent, there's going to be another war, because by that time the First World War was almost over, and that was in 1917. And then she said that there's going to be another one, which is going to be much worse. And then there's going to be a sign on the sky, she said, before that happens. And I don't think she went into a lot of specifics. There's going to be a sun in the sky just before that happened. And so, lo and behold, it was like one of the greatest. You know, that event happens all the time, but I mean, this one was so big that astronomers were, wow. Where, you know, it was a wow moment. And they were, I mean, impressed by what happened. And then that was the kids. Well, one of them, the one that was still, the other two already died, but the one went to the Lord. But the one that was still alive, which was no longer a kid, she was already a young woman by that time. So then 17, she was like 10 years old. So this happened in 19. Well, golly, she was in her 30s. But anyway, or no, in her, yeah, something like that. But anyway, she was already a woman, so she saw it and she confirmed that that was the signal, the aurora borealis that happened, that took astronomers by surprise. And it happened in I think it was 1939 or 38. Less than a year after that, then the Second World War started. So just like our Blessed Lady predicted. So that's fair game. But even in that case, she didn't know. I mean, she didn't give, I think the Blessed Lady didn't give any details. So the only survivor, which was already, like I said, a woman, Sister Lucia, she didn't know what it was, what was going to happen. But now these folks, I mean, first of all, for starters, this one, everybody knows it's going to happen. It already been forecasted by the weather people and the scientists. So that's also going to be a surprise, number one. Number two, no one is receiving it. I mean, again, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe, but I mean, I don't care one way or the other. But I don't believe it. I don't believe people are receiving actual apparition from a lady appearing to them and say, "You see that eclipse? That's gonna be," and that's kind of like that. I think because I I haven't seen the whole thing. I mean, I haven't, like I said, I'm not paying attention to that, but I think that's where they're coming from. Again, tomorrow, I'm gonna have, I'm gonna experience something much, much, much bigger, infinitely much bigger, and that's the only thing I can. And I'm also gonna go to confession. I'm gonna do those two things. So, and because in case you haven't noticed, I'm still a sinner. So you see, at the end of the day, only one thing matters: the salvation of your soul, salvation of each and every one of our souls. And there's only one way to get there: repent go to confession. Then you should have nothing to worry about. Talk to you later.